All the stuff that Baba gave us that was supposedly materialized, including robes. Check it out. That's what any devotee would want.
Yeah.
This is what the height of your closeness to Sai Baba.
So these are two of the three robes that Baba gave us. Baba gave one to me, he gave one to Marisa, and he gave one to Elia.
A robe like the one he wore.
That he wore.
He's already worn. Actual size, actual everything.
How were you brought up to see Sai Baba when you were a child?
As God. Pretty straightforward. God in human form, the avatar. And I didn't really understand too much of it. But that was probably one of the main things that kind of made me feel a little excluded from most of the quote-unquote normal kids going to school and going to church.
But for many devotees like young Elia Ram, Sai Baba's generosity came at a cost.
At the same time I was overjoyed, it was also a little bit of confusion, because that was the first interview in which he called me in personally.
He took you aside?
Mm-hmm. Took me aside and put the oil on his hands and told me to drop my pants and rub my genitalia with the oil, and pulled me close and started kissing me heavily on the mouth. And I was really taken back by it and not understanding what was going on.
I said, so tell me about, your interview. And he said, well, I'm not supposed to tell anybody. Baba told me not to tell anybody. And I looked at him and I said, did he make oil for you? And his eyes got kind of big and he said, how did you know? And I said, did he rub it on you? And he said, yeah. He said, how did you know? And I said, because it happened to me.
To Elia's surprise, his father had had the same oiling experience when he first visited Sai Baba aged 18. The guru had told him it was a ritual healing process. Al accepted this, and when it happened to Elia, he saw nothing wrong.
He just takes his empty hand, waves it in the air like this, and when he brings it down, he produces holy ash from nowhere. Usually God man give with one hand, but I am giving with both the hands. How does it happen? Very, very easy.
So Narendra, how do you hide the vibhuti in your hand?
I just hide it in between my thumb and my index finger like this.
That's right.
Just like that. But you must be absolutely relaxed so that nobody will know what's happening here. And when you wave it in the air like this, you just crush it like this and you distribute the vibhuti to the people.
It's quite difficult to do actually, isn't it?
But we have practiced it quite a lot.
Okay.
Every miracle man rotates their hand before they produce something. Do you know why? People don't see the movement of the fingers because the hand is rotating.
Mark Roach devoted 25 years of his life to Sai Baba. He first heard of him in 1969 and soon joined the local centre in California. The Guru's message was the big attraction.
The teachings themselves were very universal and adopted the attitude of embracing all other religions, so that it wasn't a matter of this religion opposed to that you had to leave whatever you were in to be associated with Sai Baba. It was something that just be a better Christian or a better Jew or a better whatever it is, rather than necessarily having to leave it. Mixed with the fact that the person who is the head of that is claiming to be God himself.
It's a special moment when God calls. And Mark couldn't believe his luck when he was summoned for a private interview. But he emerged shocked and confused. Just like the Ram, Sai Baba had oiled his genitals. 2 years later, Mark was called for an audience again.
He kept saying stuff like that. I'm giving you a great chance. Millions want to touch the feet. I'm giving you a whole body. This is a great chance. This is a great chance. Then he went over to a different part of the room and pulled up his dhoti, which is an Indian garment kind of thing, and exposed himself and sort of indicated that I was supposed to put his penis in my mouth, which, feeling intimidated and confused and all that, I did. And although it didn't seem right to me, but it just seemed like what I was supposed to do.
Why would God want to put his penis in your mouth?
Got me?
One of the things that a lot of the abuse victims we've talked to have said is that Sai Baba does these genital oilings because it's part of Hinduism. Have you ever heard anything?
For one, it's nothing to do with, there's no Indian tradition to support the fact that, you know, worship of the linga includes also doing the blowjob, if that is what you are referring to. I don't think there's any basis for that whatsoever.
What Al and Marissa didn't know was that while he was showering their family with gifts and attention, Sai Baba was exacting a heavy price from their son.
Oral sex, he would try to get that to happen several times. He would perform it to me, and then, you know, and then sometimes threaten to cut my penis off and hold it and be like, it's bad, I should cut it off. He would ask me all the time, why don't you want me? You don't want me? It was so far out to me to think that he was actually just wanting me to physically want him. I could pretty much stop convincing myself that any of this was spiritual when he lifted his robe and his dhoti up to his chest and showed me the whole bottom half of his body and told me to take my pants off. And then he tried to, I'm much taller than he is. He's like 5 feet tall, maybe. And I'm 6'6", and he tried to climb up onto me, you know.
To rape you?
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I mean, he was, for a 70-year-old man, as erect as I think a 70-year-old man could get. I even saw semen come out of his penis one time. And that was when I was, wow, this is a human being.
In spite of the growing abuse, Alaya continued to play the dutiful son.
No, I think Swami's plan for me is, he said, we're all tools, and we just have to be available for Swami to use us at any time that he feels necessary. And so I just want to be ready, because I imagine that he's going to snatch me up and say, I need to use a screwdriver right about now, and just use me, so I need to be there. And I'm doing what I can.
I've even heard my mom say so many times, you know, oh, now is the golden time where we're getting attention. You know, Alaya, whatever Sai Baba was telling you to do it. Whatever you're doing it right, because God is paying attention to us.
And yet she had no idea how tragic her words actually were.
Right.
Sai Baba the God was beginning to appear all too human. Rumours of sexual abuse have been circulating for years, but rarely have they been made as explicit as in Alaya's story. For the Ram family, the tragedy was coming to a head. Alaya's parents were noticing changes in their son.
You think so?
He wasn't looking happy even in India going into these interviews. I would wait until he would come out, and he didn't look happy to go in, and he didn't really look happy to come out. And there was a suspicion growing in me that, you know, things were going wrong.
Don't put the 8-ball in there right there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hey, you out.
We were concerned about Alaya's behavior and the way he was acting, and so we decided we were going to confront him. Well, to my surprise, when Alaya said okay and he started to tell the story, it was so much more than I knew anything about.